So, as some of you might know, I've got a daughter who is nearly 14. She's turning 14 this week, and myself and my husband were saying before that it would be good to look back on the memories that we've got of that time with that first baby, new baby, and weirdly, I was the one who kept diaries of everything. So for the first year of her life, I kept a diary of what we did, what we went through, the thoughts, the feelings, and all the rest of it. And to be quite honest with you, this is lots of the things that I now find parents come to me about. And sometimes I just go back and think, you know, these are the normal things that parents go through, but often the things we don't talk about. Hence why I now talk about all these things in courses, just to help people feel prepared. So I just thought I'd share a few snippets out of the diary for the first week of having a baby. So don't forget to comment if you have been through these things or things that you maybe haven't thought about for you and for your journey into having your first baby or other children. So on here, this is kind of after baby's been born. It says, when we got up to the ward, they got us in a cubicle and shut the curtains. I sat and stared at you and you were sleeping, and I thought, oh my God, this is my baby. What do I do with her now? And I had to ring my mum and ask her when I need to feed the baby and how I go about doing it. I didn't sleep at all. I was just waiting for Jamie to come the next day at 10 a.m. to visit and take over. So I remember the cubicle doors being shut, and I literally just sat and stared and was like, oh my God, what do I do now? And I remember one memory that I've got that's very, very kind of vivid is that I pressed the buzzer, the midwife came in, and I said to her, I need to go to the toilet, what do I do with her? And she went, you just leave her there. And I said, oh, okay then. So off I went. And then the next thing was kind of that, how do I go about giving her a bottle? Do I need to warm it up? You know, blah, blah, blah. And I think often people forget that if it's your first baby that you don't just automatically know these things. I've looked after millions of babies, not millions, but friends and family and things. But I was the first out of our friends to have a baby. And all this is new because this is your baby, and all of a sudden you've got to do those decisions and you've got to be the one making them. So it's totally different when it's your first and it's your own. And I always tell my parents to make sure you ask those questions before the midwife leaves the room. Ask anything that you're not sure of, or press the button as many times as needed, because sometimes people forget that you've not done it before. It also says here that you was the only girl on our ward. Every other baby was a boy, and we had everything pink. The midwives gave you a bath and you had your photo done. Now, baths at the moment, again, different in different trusts, but aren't given till 24 hours. Obviously, she was less than 24 hours old at this point. And the bounty people who come around and take photographs, even at the ward I work in, still did up till last year, and then that's also stopped. Another one for the first day, and this again does not happen, or if it does, it's rare now, but it says that we'd been discharged, the nurses came, give us our paperwork, and then they walked us to the lift. We got into the car, they checked the car seat, and then that Jamie drove really carefully to his mum's house, so that to my mum's house, so I could have a shower, and she made us tea. And then first night at home, a really, really common one, and this is something I do warn parents about. It says, I went to bed at 12 p.m, but ended up sleeping in mummy and daddy's bed, late on mummy, because I like to hear her heartbeat. I like to be fed every 3 hours roughly at the moment, and I'm taking 4 ounces of milk. So she was born on the 25th of February, and I've then put on the 1st of March, which was a few days later, that my mum had come round to see us, and she'd gone to the kitchen. Bearing in mind we're kind of like that day 3 to 5 period now where your baby blues are setting in, and she must have gone to the steriliser to check whatever, get something out of it, and she said to me, Lauren, what have you done in the steriliser? How have you done it? So I showed her how I'd done it, and I was so confident with myself that I'd done it right. And she was like, you're using the hot water steriliser on the cold water setting. So I'd filled the Tommee Tippee steriliser with loads of water, put it in the microwave, been spinning it around in the microwave for 5 minutes or whatever it was and just warming up the bottles. So I'd not actually sterilised anything for the first couple of days. I was absolutely mortified. You know, it says here how upset I was. I couldn't believe that I'd done this and blah, blah, blah. And now, you know, those things you laugh about, but at the time, you're actually kind of heartbroken about it because you think you've done something so wrong. But again, I always say to parents, you know, it's about learning from your mistakes. It's about learning as you go. And obviously just making sure that you read instructions properly for things like that. And then at about a week, we give her a first bath, and it says here that she cried lots and lots. And again, that is something that I say to all my parents, don't be surprised if they cry for the first couple of baths. They cry at lots of things like getting dressed, undressed, nappy change, bath. They don't like most of the things that we actually do with them in the first couple of weeks. So at the time, my husband was self-employed, so he was back to work after a couple of days. I think it was about a week, and no one again told me about how it would feel to be on my own for the first time with the baby and not having that support of the other person. So again, something I always remind parents about is kind of making sure you've got that support around you when partners do go back to work, because you just don't know whether you're going to be absolutely fine or whether you're going to feel completely lost and kind of muddle your way through. But again, I remember counting down the hours till he was back because I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, basically. The other thing from this is just shows how much we did in that first week, how many visitors we had, much visiting we did, how many places we went to, how many things we obviously thought we needed to do at the time. But I know that from my second, it was totally different. We didn't do all those things. We didn't go rushing about. We didn't kind of go to visitors' houses, we waited for them to come to us. So again, it just shows how different you are with kind of each baby you have, how things are so different and how you kind of learn and change and adapt and do things differently, basically. So comment below if any of this resonates to you. If you want to hear any more of the diaries of a first-time mum, then I will happily share some of these things because some of them really probably would resonate to lots of people. But yeah, 14 years, learned a lot and had another 3 children since then. Haven't got diaries for them all. Possibly the second one a little bit. But it is good to look back and just see kind of how things were and how you felt, and just to be able to normalise these things a little bit with the parents I teach, and share the thoughts and feelings I went through.